Well, hello there. My name's Jeremy, and welcome back once more to Freeform Disney. Now today I'm going to be letting you know my 10 favorite rides at Walt Disney World. And I need to give a quick shout out to my patrons for this because they are the ones who voted for this to be a special top 10 this month. Every month they're going to be voting for some top 10 list. That doesn't mean this is necessarily the only time we'll do a top 10 in a month, but hey, that is a top 10 I am committing to doing each time. And hey, not at my own choice, so yeah, it's pretty cool, and this is what they picked this time around. If you've got ideas that you want to put on a list for voting, definitely shove them down in the comments, and at the very least, they'll go on the list for the patrons to vote on for the next month. So yeah, I love having that participation. Now anyway, before I launch in, there are a few provisos, a couple of quid pro quo. So this list here, these are going to be rides, not attractions, so no Muppets 3D or Fantasmic, and it's whatever Disney counts as being rides. Also, I'm looking at the 4 main parks of Walt Disney World and skipping the 2 water parks. I'm also looking at rides that are currently in operation and not rides which no longer exist for one reason or another. And I'm not going to include any of the ones that I've actually never been on, unless it's a duplicate that I rode over at Disneyland Resort, as there are a couple of those. Okay, so that last one right there about not having ridden them, that knocks out a few, sadly, because I haven't actually been to Walt Disney World in quite some time. So no Seven Dwarfs Mine Train or Frozen Ever After, no Flight of Passage or Millennium Falcon Smuggler's Run, and no Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway or Rise of the Resistance. And in case you're watching this far enough in the future, that also means no Tron Coaster or Guardians of the Galaxy Coaster because those are only under construction currently and aren't open yet. And let me say, a few of those things I just listed, they probably have a legit chance of breaking into this top 10, but that'll have to wait until I ride them someday. So hey, after the next time I actually go to Walt Disney World, maybe we'll revisit this, make a new top 10, or maybe I'll just tell you what went ahead and changed there and how much I like some of those new ones. We'll see. Okay, enough preamble, let us jump on in. So what is number 10 for me? Well, we are off to Splash Mountain. Yes, I love Splash Mountain. As far as any water ride right there, dang, it's probably my favorite. As far as a log ride is concerned anyway, I should say. Or a boat ride, yeah, you get what I'm saying. I've always loved it. Yes, the theming does have its problematic sides. Don't get me wrong on that. 100% it does. Although most of the time growing up, I didn't know about that problematic side and didn't see it as such. So I got pulled in by that world, and yes, if you divorce it from all that problematic side, then it can be quite fun, in the theme that is there. But I really am looking forward to the Princess and the Frog re-theme on Splash Mountain too. I think that's a great direction to go with it, and I think that's gonna be a ton of fun. But regardless, I love the hills in it, going around, it's a fun ride. Number 9 is going to be Spaceship Earth. Now, who knows? For some of you, maybe you absolutely love it. Maybe for some of you, it's way lower. I just have always loved this one. Heck, right as you go into EPCOT, you look at the giant ball of Spaceship Earth. But the ride inside is actually pretty cool. I love going ahead and going through the history in there, riding through. It's a great dark ride, and definitely one of my favorite dark rides in the entirety of Disney World, to be sure, no question. But yeah, and a lot of my favorite rides might end up being a little more thrill rides, but this one certainly is not that. I love just being able to go in there, relax, and just go through the history of humanity as told by Spaceship Earth. And yes, that final room when you're going around the globe of Earth itself. Oh, it's got to be one of the best rooms in there. Love it. Number 8, Twilight Zone Tower of Terror. Now, as far as the Tower of Terrors that I know, I only ever really knew 2 of them. The one over on the East Coast there, and the West Coast, should we call it a knockoff version? Well, it was kind of a less expensive version. They cut the budget down a fair bit on it. Certainly the East Coast version was better, no question. The way we get to go into the Twilight Zone over in Walt Disney World, love that. That is a beautiful section of it, and you gotta love the drops, which are so much better when they have this semi-randomized piece, so you don't know exactly what to expect and how the drops are going to go. And Twilight Zone is just a great theme to go with this, and it's such an imposing tower from the outside too. Oh yeah, definitely this goes ahead and makes it in there. And hey, look at that, we've now been to 3 of the different parks. But we're not switching parks yet after this one, because we're gonna stick around and actually walk just a little ways over and go to number 7, which is Rock and Roller Coaster. Now, I have always loved this coaster. I'm an Aerosmith fan too, so that certainly does not hurt any right there. Their music works well. It's a nice fast coaster. You get some loops in there, and oh yeah, it's fun. It's a quick one to be sure, but I love the theming and the line as well. I should talk more about the theming and the lines on some of the others too, because that's true about things like Tower of Terror has a great theming with the room before it, and also true about Splash Mountain with the theming before. Spaceship Earth not so much, but still, Rock and Roller Coaster, just a great fun thrill, and for someone who loves coasters, yeah, that's definitely up here on my list. But certainly not the best coaster in Disney World. Here's one that I like better right off the bat, and that is number 6. We're back to Magic Kingdom because it is Space Mountain. Now, Space Mountain in Disney World, let me say, is not my favorite version of Space Mountain. I definitely like Disneyland's better, but Disney World's is still a good version, and I still love it. And yes, we get the theming as we go in through the queue line as we're working our way up to the space station. And then you actually get in the ride, and the darkness is a beautiful aspect of Space Mountain, where you can actually feel like you're in there and amongst the stars, and you're cruising left and cruising right, or etc. as you just loop it around as you're going in there. Not looping upside down, looping to the side. Yeah, maybe it's partly the sci-fi fan in me too, maybe that helps. But I love Space Mountain. Number 5. Sticking in Magic Kingdom, and now we are off to Haunted Mansion. Now, I love Haunted Mansion. We're talking dark rides right here. It is hard to beat the Haunted Mansion. And by the way, the Haunted Mansion over in Disney World, whoa, what a building that is from the outside. That thing is big and impressive right there. Now, I love the Disneyland one too, definitely from the outside, but the Disney World one is more imposing, shall we say. And then the elevator section of Haunted Mansion, always love it. Oh, by the way, I'm not talking about the holiday overlay themes here, but I could talk about those too. I love the Nightmare Before Christmas theming on Haunted Mansion when it goes there, even if I kind of wish it wasn't there during Halloween, but that's another matter. But anyway, yeah, then we get into our Doom buggies and get to go through this whole section. Love Haunted Mansion. I mean, I think most people do. Whether it's up in their top 10 or not, that's a different matter. There are a lot of good rides out there. Yeah, and hey, you gotta always grab a little picture of yourself, with one of the ghosts that choose to jump into your little Doom buggy with you at the end, right? And you gotta hurry back. Yes. Number 4, we're back to the coasters again, and this time we're finally headed to Animal Kingdom for the first time on this list. It is time for Expedition Everest. Now, currently, this is the best coaster that Disney World has, in my opinion. Yes, spoiler, the next 3 are not going to be roller coasters, but definitely it's Expedition Everest. And in fairness, who knows, that Tron coaster coming up could beat it. The Guardians coaster might be able to beat it. I don't know. We'll have to see when those come out. But for now, it is Expedition Everest. And I love the theming as we go in. You really feel like we're going up toward Everest right there. Feel like we're in a little travel company. The line queuing is, love it. Probably, as far as roller coasters are concerned, it's probably got the best theming for a line over in Disney World too. Just pulls me into that area. It's really nice. But then the coaster itself, it's got the best thrills in there. Heck, you'll love the section where we come up to the broken rails. Get to go backwards for a bit, which gives you the question, do you want to be in the front or the back of this coaster? I mean, there's not a wrong option on that one. And by the way, you always got to ask for that right spot in the coaster. You want to be in the front every time? Ask for the front. You want to be in the back? Ask for the back. That is just me on riding coasters. There's no reason there's no reason not to ask. Just ask for it. Maybe you'll have to wait 1 or 2 more coasters for it. That's okay. After all, it's a long enough line to get there in the first place. What's 1 or 2 more coasters to go ahead and get that front or back spot? Okay, number 3. Back to Hollywood Studios one more time, and this is Star Tours. Now, specifically, this is a new version of Star Tours. This isn't the old original one. And actually, the new version I've only ridden over at Disneyland, because it was still the old Star Tours last time I was at Disney World. But anyway, even that version of Star Tours, oh, I love it. And actually in some ways better, in some ways I love some of the original stuff. It's an interesting debate. I could talk about Star Tours a bit more sometime. And first, before we go into the ride itself, Star Tours at Hollywood Studios has such a cool exterior. It easily, hands down, beats Disneyland for the exterior of the ride. We get a giant AT-AT, we get the forest over on the moon of Endor going on. It is some cool theming out there, I love it. Well, anyway, we head on in, we get our great ride, and now, because of what Star Tours is nowadays, well, who knows exactly what your Star Tours ride is going to be like? Because we're going to combine one of a few different first sections, one of a few different second sections, and then the interlocking pieces in between. And that means you just got to ride that thing again and again, because hey, you got to get the different combinations and get to the different destinations, right? Certainly that's me on right at something like Star Tours. I love the variety. The variety is great. It helps great in things like Tower of Terror that has different drops. It helps here in something like Star Tours. Yeah. But hey, variety is not always what you want, right? And that takes me over to my number 2, which is Soarin' Around the World. So off to EPCOT one more time. Now, the Soarin' Around the World actually is one that I've only ridden over at Disney's California Adventure. Again, back the last time I was at Disney World, it was still Soarin' over California. Now, forgive me, but I will say Soarin' over California easily beats Soarin' Around the World, but that does not stop me from loving Soarin' Around the World too. I just love the style of the whole Soarin' ride. And just getting to be up there in the air, feeling like I'm riding through these areas, the scents that come in, the music surrounding you. Man, I cannot talk enough about how much I love Soarin'. And by the way, Flight of Passage, very intriguing to me since it uses the same general ride system. So who knows, I might utterly love that thing when I get to finally ride it. But for now, I have not, and Soarin' Around the World, oh yeah. Now, in fairness, the area it's at certainly doesn't have the best theming outside or anything like that, because, well, the building it's in over at EPCOT was not originally intended for it, so, what can you do? But yeah, even so, I love going in there. I love Patrick Warburton with his little spiel, and I love going through the different destinations that we have. I can ride that ride again and again and again, and I can do that back to back to back, frankly. And hell, I love all the different areas you can be at in it. Yes, we could argue whether the top center is the best location, but still, being in different locations, you see different things and it's a different experience. And so sure, there's only one ride, but if you're in different spots, it can feel very different. And I've ridden it in a few different spots too, so definitely that's true here too. Well, anyway, with all of those great rides that I have mentioned already, what can beat out every one of these great rides? Well, for me, we are headed back to Animal Kingdom, and it is the Kilimanjaro Safari. That is my number 1 ride at Disney World. Heck, one of my majors that I got a bachelor's degree in was biology, and well, yes, it's because I love, well, humans and other non-human animals, you better freaking bet. Not as much into microbiology or those kind of things. It really is, especially the animal kingdom that I'm into. And oh, I love the Kilimanjaro Safari. It is set up so well too, where we really get a good chance to see the different animals that are in there. And all props to Disney Imagineering for how they've gone ahead and done that, and how much out of sight all the different barriers are, and the different things that help lead to those different animals being in a spot that we actually see, whether it be things like heated rocks, whether it be where their food sources are, where their shade is, etc., etc. Beautiful job. And heck, the safari actually is a continually changing thing over the years. As new species are introduced, maybe some are pulled out, and well, like anything living, obviously that means new animals are born. Eventually animals die or they move off to different places around the world, maybe some other zoo or sanctuary or whatever. So it's a constantly evolving thing, and that's in the long-term sense, let alone the short-term sense on just that specific time you went ahead and saw everything. Because, well, I went here in the morning one day and in the morning the next day, and you're gonna see different animals, and there are gonna be different activity levels. It also makes a difference as to what time of day you're going. And yes, there are better times of day, like get there in the morning. That is usually better because animals are more active before it really hits midday, where it's time to go ahead and take your mid-afternoon rest and your nap and not get worn out by that sun beating down on you. And oh yeah, it's great. Someday, speaking of the safari, now this isn't the ride, but oh man, I want to stay at the Animal Kingdom Lodge with the beautiful view out onto the safari. Oh, I want to do that so bad someday. But yeah, no, I love the Kilimanjaro Safari. And hey, like other things that I've talked about earlier, I could ride it again and again back to back. You better bet I could be right back out there. Yeah. So hey, Animal Kingdom tops of my list, as you can see right there. So, oh yeah, what else can I say? So hey, there are my top 10, and you'll notice actually every one of the 4 parks at Disney World did appear in there, which actually I wasn't sure before I started. I'm like, will all 4 parks be in there? Yes, most certainly they are. EPCOT had 2 of them, Animal Kingdom had 2 of them in there, and by the way, some of the highest ones up in there. Magic Kingdom well represented, but then it has a good number of rides, and so was Hollywood Studios. It was definitely well represented in here too. So yeah, we were all around Walt Disney World with this list. So hey, you know me, I park hop all around because yeah, you gotta go to those different parks. Although yeah, you can't hit too many in one day or you're spending too much time traveling, but hey, what can you do? So that is me. Well, anyway, all of that said, let me go ahead and ask, well, what about you? What are your favorite rides over at Walt Disney World? And is your list similar to mine or completely different? And how much are those new rides that I haven't yet ridden ones that you think that would, hey, Jeremy, those ones are ones that will make your Freeform Disney list right there? Well, go ahead and let me know down below in the comments. Oh, and let me also take one more moment to thank all of my wonderful patrons. Put them up on the screen here for you. Now, if you're interested in helping support the channel through Patreon, there's a link in the description. That means you also get to potentially vote on things like this in the future. And hey, it's great, and I love having you on board. Anyway, to everyone, thank you so much for watching. If you liked the video, please help me out, give it a like, a share, and don't forget to subscribe. I'll see you back here tomorrow for another new episode of Freeform Disney. Have a magical day, and may the force be with you always.